Alright, so I'm just going to be doing some Stallone movies this weekend because Stallone, one, has more movies than Keanu right now that I have to do, and two, are more action orientated than the ones I have to do for Keanu Reeves. Like, think about it. You got Expendables, and then you have The Lake House. And you have Expendables 2. Then you have another drama-based movie. Nothing, comparison. So The Expendables tells the story of a group of mercenaries who are hired to do a job in, well, I'm assuming it's South America, in the island of Valena, in South America somewhere. And yeah, there's not really, you don't really need to explain the plot for this. It's a bunch of action stars getting together and blowing shit up. That's what it is. Some elements of the plot are a little confusing. What they do with a character in this film, which I'll get to. But let's run down the cast here. Alright, so Sylvester Stallone himself directed this movie. We have Stallone playing Barney Ross, who's the leader of these Expendables, followed by Jason Statham as Lee Christmas. Now, there's the name. Don't worry. We'll get to more weird names. Dolph Lundgren as Gunnar Jensen, the most volatile member of the team, and we'll get into him because he's the guy I have a problem with. Jet Li is Yin Yang. That's racist. Randy Couture as Toll Road. That's weird. Terry Crews is Hail Caesar. That's stupid. And Mickey Rourke as Tool. That's your main Expendables, although Mickey Rourke is more of a cameo as he only appears a couple times in the film. Giselle Itier plays Sandra, who's the main female in the film, and the daughter of one of the villains. Charisma Carpenter plays Lacey, who is Jason Statham's love interest. Well, that's another kind of thing I have to talk. It's not a problem, but it's just something. Eric Roberts plays our main villain, James Monroe, a former CIA agent turned rogue. And David Zayas plays General Garza, the secondary villain and Sandra's father. So the whole story is there's this mission that goes out of hand because Gunnar, Dolph Lundgren's character, goes rogue and shoots a bunch of people when he wasn't supposed to, and so they cut him loose. And then Ross is contacted by a man who just says to call him Mr. Church, played by Bruce Willis. Where they have this little scene where he's in there talking to him, and in comes Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold basically passes on a job and gives it to Ross. Plays Trench Mauser, but it's Arnold. Arnold was still governor of California at the time, so just a little cameo is all he could muster for this, I guess. And so they take the job. He goes to scout it. Christmas, that's Statham's character, goes with him, and while there, Ross decides that it's not worth it, and they need to just leave. The girl, Sandra, she doesn't want to leave. As we find out later, her dad is actually Zayas, is her father, so there's a connection there, I don't know. But because of this, she ends up getting captured by Monroe. I forgot Stone Cold Steve Austin is in this, playing, what's his name, Payne. He doesn't really do anything, and that's another kind of my problem, is that you have Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he does barely anything in this film. Fight scenes, sure. There's no dialogue. Jet Li has more dialogue, and that's another problem. You give Jet Li dialogue, the man can barely speak English. And he has a scene of dialogue with Stallone in a car. And it's just like, no offense to Jet Li, but his English is not so good. I mean, you have Jackie Chan in the film doing dialogue, but it just, I don't know. It just doesn't work, I guess. Another thing that doesn't work is the character of Gunnar. He goes rogue at the beginning of this, and they cut him because they cut him from the team because he killed people. And then he asked to be brought back in, and Barney says no. Then he starts working for the bad guys and tells them everything they need to know about the Expendables. Yeah, sure. And then he gets in a fight and ends up, quote unquote, dying. As we get this scene where it's very apparent that he dies. And then at the end of the film, he shows up just fine. Maybe he's got like a wound or something on his shoulder where the bullet hit him. But we're supposed to believe that he died. Like, okay, they killed off Lundgren, and he shows up in the end. Why? I don't know. It's just very weird. And why they would let him back in after he clearly betrayed them? It just makes no sense. After Ross realized, after Stallone realizes that Church is CIA, he decides not to take the deal. But they still do the mission. He just doesn't take the deal. Eventually, everyone gets together to go there, and we have a kick-ass, explosion-filled fight scene where Terry Crews throws this. I don't know. It's supposed to be like a propane tank or something up in the air. Stallone shoots it and it blows up a plane or a chopper, whatever it was. It's pretty cool. There's a lot of good action scenes, but the problem is that they're all shot very close up. I don't know what Stallone was trying to do with this, but it's shot very close up. And it's hard to see sometimes what's actually going on. I think wrong with Stallone's directing. You know, the Rambo film he directed was pretty good, and I like Rocky 2, 3, and 4. But I just think action scenes aren't his forte. He should have had his director of photography do those. Maybe it would have come out better. And there's another subplot that I don't know why it's in this film, but I do kind of like it a little bit, and that's when Statham comes home and he finds out his girl is with someone else, which they're right there. Oh, you lad. And it's like, but just because he's gone doesn't mean you find someone else. You gotta talk with him first, not just, oh, no, I'm gonna find another man. But he still pines for her, and then later he finds out that the guy actually beat her. So he goes, and there's this terrific scene, this little fight scene on a basketball court, where, you know, like, the basketball's there, and he goes up with the knife, she's like, Lee! It's like, he goes down and he stabs the basketball. It's like, of course he's gonna stab the basketball, it's in the way. You thought he was gonna stab the guy? Come on. I do like during all the fight scenes at the end here, like Caesar, Terry Crews' character, he's like, I got this, and he's talking about the weapon and stuff. He's like, if that don't work, I got this baby right here. And it's like a little shaving razor blade. And during the fight, he's using the thing, and he just goes, and that's pretty cool. The villains. That's the real problem with this film, is the villains. I understand it's supposed to be a throwback to 80s films, but even the 80s action films had decent villains. Look at Under Siege. They had good villains there. Look at, Under Siege was the 90s, wasn't it? But there was some decent villains in those movies, right? Right? But, here, not really. David Zayas is your stock evil totalitarian leader of a general, and Eric Roberts, while being an underrated actor in my opinion, is just your man in a suit villain. Typical man in a suit villain. They don't bring much to the table. They're basically there to have the girl that Stallone is going to rescue. That's it. Her being Zayas' daughter, or Garza's daughter, also doesn't do anything other than push. Actually, she doesn't really do anything. She could not be related to him at all, and it still wouldn't make a difference. I think he ends up dying because of it. I think Monroe kills him, but unnecessary. This film series would have better villains in the future, but as it stands here, the villains aren't really anything to write home about. And the last thing I want to talk about is Mickey Rourke. Okay, you got Mickey Rourke in your film, and you have him do nothing, and it makes me think he was added like one last minute things. So you just have a scene at the beginning and a scene at the end. I don't know. I do like the end though, like the end scene. They're all talking and stuff, and then Statham starts putting out this, like doing this throwing knives at a dartboard thing, switchblades, whatever, and then Statham starts putting off, doing a poem. He goes all the way out in the street, and he throws it, and it hits the thing, and we get credits, and it starts playing The Boys Are Back in Town in the credits. That's really cool. If you went to see this movie expecting anything else than a turn off your brain, throw logic out the window, action flick, then you went in the wrong place. This is a fantastic film. Like I said, I do have complaints though. There's some character problems, and the action scenes leave much to desire with how close up they do them. But overall, if you're looking for action, this is a one for you. So I highly recommend it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on the Expendables? In the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.